So today we're gonna talk about the tally marks. Okay, we have to remember some stuff like reading bar graph. So the vocabulary, what's meant by bar graph? It's a graph that uses bars to show data. And what's the scale of a bar graph? It's the numbers that show the units used on a bar graph. So for this specific example, some students voted for their favorite fruit, and the results are shown on this bar graph. What does this bar graph contain? It contains the title, which is the favorite fruit, and it contains a scale which is located on the vertical axis. In this case it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 and 18. And for the horizontal axis we have the name of the fruit, which is apples, grapes, mangoes, bananas, strawberries, and that stuff. And they are giving us some math tip. Think of each bar as a ruler that measures that number of votes. We can consider it as a ruler, and the measure of it is the scale that corresponds to it. So a bar graph is a way to help you to compare data. Bar graphs use bars to show data. They use bars, and in this graph each kind of fruit has its own bar. Okay, you can find the kind of fruit that has a certain votes by looking at the scale. For example, to find the fruit that has 14 votes, find the number 14 on the scale, then find the bar that ends at 14. The kind of fruit that has 14 votes in this case is bananas. Now, for the check, they said use the previous bar graph to answer these or each questions. Number one, which kind of fruit has the fewest votes? So the fewest bar has the cyan color, which is a little blue or light blue. This is the grapes. It ends up at 6. So grapes are the least, or that has the fewest votes. Which kind of fruit has 17 votes? We don't have 17 on our scale, but we have mangoes that ends up at a place between the 16 and 18, and this place is most probably in the middle between the 16 and the 18, which is 17. So this means the mangoes have 17 votes. So the mangoes are the correct answer. Now for the practice. Now, a student took a survey about the favorite color of some students. He used the results of the survey to make this bar graph. Use the bar graph to answer each question. This little guy is telling us this is a horizontal bar graph using a scale of 5. So he's giving us a hint. It has vertical bars and the scale is 5. So the title is favorite color. We're gonna write or talk about the colors. We have blue, red, yellow, green, orange. We have the number of students, 5, 10, 15, blah 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 till we get 50. And they're asking us some questions. Which color has the most votes? We go and look at the longest bar, which is blue. Okay, so in this case it's blue. Which color did 20 students vote for? So I will go to the number 20 on the scale and I go up till I find a bar that ends at 20. And yes, there it is, it's the green. The green ends at 20. Then how many more students voted for red than green? This means what? This means I have to get the number of the red and the number of the green, and then I subtract them to know which one is more than the other. So for the red, the end of the red bar is corresponding to the 30, so there are 30 reds. And for the green, there are 20, so 30 and 20. So this means 30 minus 20, which is 10 in our case. So there are 10 more students who love red than green. And for the challenge, from the previous bar graph, how many students did vote for the yellow? Let's go for the yellow and see where it's gonna cross. The yellow will be, in this case, if we go down, it will be between 10 and 15. And if it's in the middle exactly, it will be like 12.5. And of course, I can't say there are 12 and half guys. This is not possible. So it's near to the 12. Okay, so we have 12 students who voted for the yellow. Now let's go or move to the tally marks. we're gonna learn tally marks. First of all, the vocabulary, the tally mark. The tally mark is a mark which is used to record votes for other items. They say that Bassem tossed a coin 10 times. His friend Marwan showed his results with tally marks. And he drew a figure of the head and the tail, and then he did some crossing. He drew 4 vertical lines for the head, which means they appeared 4 times. And then he drew 4 vertical and a horizontal one on them, then another one vertical on its own. So the 4 ones with a horizontal one is a stack of 5. So this means the tail appeared 5 plus 1, which is 6 times. And now they are giving us a hint to remember. 1, or which a vertical line only, means 1. And 4 with a horizontal, which is a stack, means 5. So you can use tally marks to help count and organize data. Yes, this is sure. Now, check. They said toss a counter 25 times. Use a tally to mark head or tail. So I did this practice and I tossed it 25, and the results that I got, I drew. For the head, I drew how many? I drew 2 stacks of 5, so this means 10s, and another 4 vertical on their own. So the total for the head in this case is 14. And for the tail, I drew 2 stacks of 5, which is 10, and then 1 only, which is in total 11. So 14 for the head and 11 for the tail. Number 2 is asking us, circle what has more. Of course, in my case, it's the head, because it's 14. And how many more head or tail did you toss? So I'm gonna subtract both numbers, 14 minus 11, or 11 subtracted from 14. So 14 minus 11 is 3, and I got 3 heads more than the tail. Now for the practice, here are some other tallies. Count how many heads, how many tails, and how many in all. So there are 2 separate examples. For the one on the left, the heads and the tails, they already draw us stacks. If I count the heads, I found there are 3 vertical, so how many heads? I have 3. And for the tails, I have 1 stack of 5 and 3 vertical on their own, so 5 plus 3 is 8, so how many tails? I find 8. How many in all? So 3 plus 8, or 8 plus 3, which is 11. I do the same with the other one. For the heads, I got 2 stacks of 5, so this means 10, and another extra one, so they are 11. So how many heads? I have 11. And for the tails, I got 4 vertical only, so this means they are total 4. So how many in all for the heads and the tails? So 11 plus 4, which is 15. Now they are asking us to show the tallies for each chart. They already wrote us the problem and we're gonna draw it. So they leave us a blank space for the heads and tails. For the first one on the left, they said show 7 heads. How am I gonna show it? I'm gonna draw a stack of 5 and then extra 2 horizontal. And for the tails, I'm gonna draw 13 tails. How they are gonna divide it? So 2 stacks of 5, so this means 10, and extra 3. So 2 stacks and 3. And the total is 7 plus 13, or 13 plus 7, which is 20. For the one on the right, heads and tails, we got the first one show 12 heads. So we got 2 stacks of 5, which is 10, and then extra 2, so 12. 10 plus 2 is 12. And show 18 tails. So I'm gonna have 3 stacks of 5, 5 plus 5, 10, and another 5, 15. Then for the last one, I will have how many? 3 only left. Okay, so I draw 3 lines only. So 3 stacks of 5 and 3 vertical lines. How many in total? 12 plus 18 equal 30, or 18 plus 12 equal 30. Now they're asking us a critical question. If you toss a coin 10 times, could it land on head 10 times? Yes, it could happen if you are lucky, but most probably it will not. So this means you're not bad, but yeah, it happened. So you might have some tails and some heads So both answers for these questions can fit. Yes, it could happen. This is if you're very lucky. No, it will not happen. So some will appear for the heads and some will appear for the tails. Now, learn organizing data using tally tables. So what's meant by tally table? It's a table uses tally marks to record data. So a tally table is a useful way to represent survey results. Results are organized in easy way to read rows and columns. So this guy is telling us his story. I took a survey to find out the favorite times of day to my friends. Then I organized the results in a tally table. This means what? If you look at the left, we find morning, evening, afternoon, blah blah. It's the same words are repeated. So the times of the day he asked them. And they are telling us a very good question. It's better to record votes by using tally table than record it by writing its name. If we are gonna do tables like that, are we gonna write the name each time? It's gonna be hectic, takes a lot of time, and you'll get bored. So what are we talking mainly about? The times of the day. What are the times of the day in this case? Morning, lunchtime, afternoon, evening, and night time. Then I make a tally cell and then the number. I just count the word morning. How many times did this word appear on the left? In our case it was 4 times. So I draw 4 vertical sticks corresponding to 4. At the lunch time it appeared 3, so I draw 3 sticks and 3. Afternoon it appeared 8 times, so this means a stack of 5 and extra 3, so the total is 8. And the evening we count them, we found 3 sticks correspond to 3, and then night time 2 sticks with 2. Now they are asking us to do something for this exercise. Complete the tally table, then answer. Before we answer, we have to complete the table. So what's this table about? Animals in the farm, and we got which animals are we talking about? Horse, cow, buffalo, and donkey. And they already draw us the tally. So how many sticks for the tally? For the horse, we got 2, so we got the number total 2. And for the cow, there is a stack of 5, so this means 5. And the buffalo, there is a stack of 5 and extra 3, so 5 plus 3 is 8. And for the donkey, there are just 3. Now, what is the number of cows in the farm? From the table, we found them, it's 5. And which animal has the greatest number? It's obvious, it's the buffalo, it has 8. Which animal has the least number? It's the horse, we got 2. And how many animals are there in the farm? We have to count all of them together. So 2 plus 5 is 7, 7 plus 8, 15, and 15 plus 3 is 18. Now for this practice, Hani made this list of the shirt colors his friends were wearing. Make a tally table, then answer. They already wrote us the list. The shirt color and some colors are repeated. I have to be very careful to see which colors are repeated. After reading them all without counting, you find just 3 colors are there. The red, the blue, and the green. So we have to write them on the left for the table of the shirt color. Then we start counting each name exactly. So the red, when I count, I found them appeared 7 times. So this means a stack of 5 plus extra 2. For the blue, it's repeated 10 times, so 2 stacks of 5. And for the green, it's repeated just 3, so just 3 vertical lines. Then I start answering the question. How many children were wearing blue shirts? From the table you will find them 10. What was the color of the most shirt? It was also blue, because it was the greatest number, which is 10, and the 10 is for the blue. And then list the shirt color data from the least to the greatest. So the least color, or the least number, is 3, which is for the green. So the green first, then after that the red, then the blue. And here they're asking you a very good question. Color all the stars. Color some red, some green, and some blue. Make a tally table to count the stars. Here they are not restricting you to any number. You draw whatever you like, or you color whatever you like, then you count. In my case, I colored 6 red, so a stack of 5 and 1 on the vertical. I colored 7 greens, so a stack of 5 and extra 2. Then I colored 12 blues, So 2 stacks of 10 and then extra 2. Now learn the tally table and the bar graph. The girl is telling us that, or she is saying, I took a survey to find out how many children ride the bus to school. Then I made a bar graph. Then she is sharing the data she got with us. So she asked how many grades? The 5 grades, from 1 till 5. Grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, grade 5. And after she did that, what happened? She noted the numbers. And she did the tally. For grade 1, how many? 2 5s or 2 stacks of 5, so this means 10. And for grade 2, 3 stacks of 5, which is 15, and extra 1, so this 16. Grade 3, we got 3 stacks of 5, which is 15. And for grade 4, we got 4 stacks of 5, which is 20 in total. Then grade 5, we got 3 stacks of 5 and extra 3, so 15 plus 3 is 18. Then she did them in a table like shown. Children who ride a bus, grade and number of children, and she did for each grade a bar, and she made a scale of 2's, and this is possible here because the maximum number we got is 20. So it's possible to divide up in 2's. And of course it's not good to divide up in 5's. Why? Because we got, for example, 10 and we got another 16 and another 15 for that. So these numbers, if we divide in scale of 5's, they will not appear. So the scale of 2 is the best. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and whatever. Then from the graph, how many children in grade 4 ride the bus to school? If I go to grade 4, I see that they are 20 exactly because it corresponds with the 20. Now to check, count the tallies, write the total, color the graph to show the data. So the table is already done for us and we have to count the sports: basketball, football, swimming, and tennis. So how many students love basketball? If we count the tally, we will find there are 4. And for the football, a stack of 5 and extra 3, so 5 plus 3 is 8. The swimming, a stack of 5 and 1, so 5 plus 1, which is 6. Then tennis, just a 3. Then I draw them on the bar graph that's shown. In order to be sure they are correct, what shall I do? The basketball is 4, so I have to make sure that the colored rectangles correspond with the 4. So the end of the bar for the basketball is the 4, not any other thing. So I do for the basket 4. Then for the football we have 8, so I have to check that the 8 is the last one for the bar. And for swimming we have 6, so I make sure that the 6 is the end. And for the tennis there are just 3, so the 3 is the end. Now for the practice with another problem, they said this is a survey about our favorite season in the class. Make a tally table and then use it to make a bar graph. So how many seasons are there in 1 year? There are just 4 seasons in the year, which are winter, spring, summer, till, like they have done. And then we have the number of the words that is repeated from the table. We have summer, winter, and that stuff. And after I count all the words of winter, I found the winter is repeated 4 times in the table. So I draw 4 vertical lines and then I write the number 4. And for the spring we found there are 2, so 2 sticks and then the number 2. For the summer there are 8, and for the fall there are 6. So what shall I do now? I have to represent them on the graph like I did in the previous example. For the winter I have to check that the end of the bar corresponds with the 4 on the vertical axis. And for the spring it should end up at 2, and for the summer bar it should end up at 8, and for the fall bar it should end up at 6. Now they're asking some questions about it. Which season is favored by the most? How many people or which season has the greatest number? We have 8, which is the greatest number. It's for summer, so the summer is most favored season. Then, which season is favored by the least? We have just 2 for the spring, so the spring is favored by the least. And how many students did vote in total? I have to count up all of them. 4 plus 2 is 6, 6 plus 8, 14, and 14 plus 6 is 20. So there are 20 students in total. Now for the last example, this tally table shows students' favorite subjects. Count the tallies, write the numbers. And the best thing about this table, it's about the subject of the school, and they are all in stacks. So the subject we're talking about: science, Arabic, math, English, social studies. And for the science, how many stacks do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 stacks of 5. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So the total number for the science is 30. And for the Arabic, we got 2 stacks. 5 plus 5 is 10. Then the math, we got 4 stacks. So 5, 10, 15, 20. So the total is 20. For the English, we got 7 stacks. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. And for the social studies, we got just 2 stacks. 5 plus 5 is 10. And here the trickiest thing is they haven't given you a scale. The scale here, this is the one that I drew. And they're asking you to do so. You can choose the scale you use for making a bar graph. You are the one who decide. Sometimes it's better to use certain scales than others. They are giving us here a hint. It's not every time we can go in twos. We can change. And here giving us choose suitable scale to make your bar graph. Okay? If we go and look at these numbers, they are the best thing what? They are all multiples of 5. So I can divide the scale in 5s. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So I'm sure that the scale is correct and all the data will appear. So for the science, I have 30, so I go for the bar for the science and I have to check it ends up at 30. And for the Arabic, it ends up at 10, so I draw till the 10, so I shade here in this case 2 squares or 2 rectangles. For the math, it ends up at 20. And for the English, it should end up at 35, and social study, like the Arabic, should end up at 10. Good? Now they are asking us a tricky question as well. What would happen if you used 1 as your scale? This is the challenge question. If I use 1, what will happen? Let's imagine that we are writing on the scale, or the numbers on the left, they are not existing at the moment. And we'll start by 1. So 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We will end up at 10. And this is terrible because we have 30 students. So the scale will not fit at all. There will be some data that will not be represented. So a scale of 1 here will not be sufficient enough because a lot of data will be missed and will not be represented. So it's not a proper scale to do so. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you learned this quite well, and see you soon, inshallah.